Greetings, beautiful being. Welcome to today's movement medicine morsel. We're going to play with a full body flow that includes our breath and a nice, enthusiastic and curious, open-hearted energy. So that's something we choose to bring to our movements. And I invite you to start gently so that you really feel into how your body wants to move and how far it wants to move in any range of motion, and build from there gently or stay there. So as always, make sure that the movement feels full of ease for you, is pleasurable, and harmonizing. So we don't overdo, we go in and we feel, and we really acknowledge where we are in any given moment, so the movement really flows for us. So I'd like to invite you to stand. You can always visualize reclining, you can always modify and be creative in a seated position. You can even switch from those base positions. So I'm going to come and stand up, and let's come into our vertical alignment. So we always want to set the tone, and we want to feel our feet so that we're grounded. And maybe walk a little bit on the spot. You can do this in a chair as well. What does it feel like to lift your heel? What does it feel like to circle the heel and the ankle? And if you do that, what does it feel like to let the hip come along for the ride and to also grow tall so you're suspended from above? If you're doing those movements with your foot and ankle, let's do them in the opposite direction and take your time. Slow it down so that it feels really good to you. And once you've come to a feeling of satisfaction with that foot, walk a little bit, move a little bit. How does that foot feel? And how does the other foot feel? Take a breath in, relax and let go. Let's do that again. Let the fullness of you open with your breath, and exhale, relax, let it go. Lift up the other heel and gently begin circling through the heel and the ankle, taking your time, feeling what your foot feels, and circling the other way a few times, letting the rest of your body collaborate. So we're not stopping anything, we're allowing all parts to move freely as they wish. Let's bring that to a close and just lightly shake that out. Feel what that feels like in your feet. And let's move up to the hips. So the feet might be about hip distance apart now or shoulder distance, it's up to you. And you can support your lower back. And as you inhale, gently lengthen and stretch the groin area forward. And as you exhale, get nice and soft in the creases at the fronts of the tops of the legs. Inhale, there's a gentle lengthening and stretch of that area. Exhale, if you place your fingers here, it's like you're sinking back. Opening softly and closing the hip joints in front softly. Let this rock. Maybe you notice a shifting of your weight through the soles of your feet. Maybe towards the balls of your feet when the hips come front, maybe towards the heels when the hips come back. And bring that to a gentle close. And with the feet about the same distance apart, sway your hips to one side and reach out, lengthening. On the inhalation, come up tall. On the exhalation, sweep the hips the other way and stretch out. Imagine an elongation of the sides of your body here. And now, if you wish to, stretch out that hand overhead and reach through the fingers and let that hand come back down. Exhale, you can add the elongation through the arm. Inhale back, and let's do one more. And you're interpreting this and making it your own in the way that feels the most delicious for you today. I'm going to do a little bit with the chest today, isolating or finding some unique movements in the chest So let's take our hands to the rib cage. If it's more comfortable for you to have them lower, that's okay too. But think into the rib cage and feel into the rib cage. On the inhalation, let your breastbone come forward, and on the exhalation, let your chest go back. So it's like doing cat and dog, but we're focusing the movement a little bit more from the area above the waist. So this may change the amount of movement. And see if your elbows want to go back when the chest comes forward, and maybe your elbows want to come forward when the chest goes back. And what do your head and neck want to do? Do they want to get in on the action as well? And just for fun, let's let the hands come down, rest the shoulders, and do the whole spine. So you might want to bend your knees or sit in a chair for this. So feel the difference when you're moving the whole spine, arching the whole back. Exhale, rounding the whole spine. We still want to feel the shoulders moving back when the chest opens, coming forward. And then come back up, roll the shoulders. Inhale up and back. Exhale down and forwards. And just let yourself get loose here. Try with the fingertips gently resting on the sides of your legs so the hands never leave your body. So sometimes we do our circles and the hands are in the air. That's great. But today we're trying just a different variation and maybe go a few times the other way and make this feel comfortable and delicious. And then let one shoulder make its circle and the other makes its circle. So you're still inhaling on the up, exhaling on the down. And what do your head and neck want to do if they want to do anything with this movement? If there were no rules, how would you do this? We're highlighting different initiation places in our body, but we're letting any other part of the body come along. And let's circle both shoulders just a couple more times. Shake out through the hands and fingers, and we're going to come back to the chest. So we did the chest front and back. Now we're going to slide the chest from side to side. So this is an odd movement for a lot of us. If you've taken belly dance classes, it's a piece of cake, maybe. Sometimes it's helpful to sit in a chair for this one. So we want to think of the hips being quiet. I've got my knees bent here. And one hand gently slides the ribs. It's like a curve in the waist, really. And then come back. And the other hand. Now, if anybody remembers the old-fashioned typewriters, this is a little bit like the movement of the typewriter carriage. And again, don't try to make the movement too big. Often this one's much more satisfying when it's subtle. Once you've gotten the feel with your hands, just leave your hands down and let the rib cage move from side to side. You may notice that your head just naturally wants to do a little bit of a counterbalance, so do let your head and neck move in any way that they like. And let that come to a gentle close. And we're going to do one more with the chest, bringing together those last four movements. So we've done a front and a back and a side to the side. So let's take the chest front and feel that. Then slide it around in a quarter circle to one side. Then slide it back. Then slide it to the other side. And now start smoothing your way through these movements. Make sure that your shoulders are comfortable. And of course, your pelvis may want to get in on the action a bit, but remember that the star of the show, so to speak, is some nice flowing movement through the rib cage. The shoulders, of course, are involved, and the neck and head are just going to do what they want to do. Bring this to a close, settle in. Maybe you want to shake out, refresh yourself. If you found that confusing, just laugh and do your best, because even the trying to do a new movement and being playful and open about it is always going to plant seeds. So we've got the knees bent, or maybe we're sitting in a chair and the chest comes forward to the other side, back to the remaining side, and then start smoothing through. Smoothing through. You can close your eyes if you like. Let this be really delicious. And then let that come to a finish. And inhale, shoulders up, and then roll them back a couple of times. Shake out through the hands and fingers. And we're going to come back down to the hips. So let's take the hips in a circle. We've done the front and the back and the side to side. And now the pelvis gets to do what the rib cage was doing. Get that nice stretch in front, out to the side, easy, quiet groin area. And if you feel like bending your knees with this, you can bend them. If you feel like taking your feet a little wider, you can do that. And make this really interesting for you. Can you get a sense of your pelvis rolling around the tops of your thighs? And anytime, come and move in the opposite direction. The head is floating on top. The gaze more or less stays forward, but you'll notice the head comes forward a little bit when the hips go back, and the head goes back a little bit when the hips come forward. So basically we're focusing on the hips and we're allowing the rest of our body to participate, to come along for the ride. And let's bring that to a gentle close. Shake out, shake out, shake out, shake out, the fingers and the hands. And let's bring the fingertips to the base of the skull and lift up just a tiny bit so we have a feeling of the skull elongating up to create freedom in the neck. And move your head just a little bit, continuing to feel that long neck and the lightness in your skull. And maybe try tipping the chin down. Let's bring the elbows in. And on the inhale, you can fan the elbows out. And on the exhale, and again, it doesn't have to be a big movement to be a meaningful movement. In other words, you don't have to try to take your head very far back. Feel the lift and the opening, and you might even feel the stretch down into your rib cage. And how far down your back do you feel the stretch when you bring your elbows in? Relax the arms and let the hands shake out a little bit. Fingertips to the shoulders. We'll do double elbow circles. So exhale, the knees bend, and inhale, the elbows come towards each other. They come up and out. And as you exhale, they scoop under. Inhale, they circle up and around. And your elbow circles can be any size that feels nurturing to you. Take a nice inhale as those elbows sweep up, because there's such a beautiful connection to filling your lungs when the gesture of your body is such that this place is almost like a climax for where you can get a lot of breath in. So time your fullest inhalation there, and exhale, you can even pull your navel in a little bit or let it come in naturally. And maybe do one or two more involving the whole of your body. And let that come down to a natural finish. Fluff up a little bit, and we're going to complete with one full body flow. And remember, you can take, I'm going to show it with the hands reaching all the way up, and whatever hands reaching up means to you, perhaps your arms will be, this is your magnificent height of your arms. You're going to listen to your shoulders, and you're always going to go for where you feel ease and fluidity. So let's think about our navel, and exhale, bend the knees, curl in. You can even give yourself a hug, and you can curl as small as you like. And as you inhale, open up, and you're expanding the whole of yourself. And as you exhale, you're curling in, gradually becoming small, folding in and rounding as though you're moving into your navel. Inhale, from the navel, the legs press down to straighten, and you open up. And maybe you can remember to cross your arms a different way each time. So one time the left arm is on front. Inhale, let your breath open you up. And exhale, maybe the next time the right arm crosses over in front. And let's do one more. Inhale to the opening, press down with your feet, open up, and stay here. Be light enough that you can breathe. And then bring yourself to vertical, palms come to touch. And on an exhalation, bring the energy down through the center line of your body to rest in front of the heart and the lungs, and smile into this beautiful part of your body and feel. And then on the next exhalation, bring the fingertips to point down to connect to the earth. Feel your connection to the earth while you remain light and buoyant. And then fold your hands over your low abdomen. And imagine a beautiful sphere that lives in your pelvis, includes your pelvis, front, back, above, below, right, and left. And as you inhale and exhale, there's a beautiful balloon of energy that is expanding in all directions, filling with life force energy. And as you exhale, anything old is releasing. And see if you can sense a lovely pulsation of vitality in this grounding zone of your body. Remember to grow tall through the crown of your head and notice how you feel. See if this little smoothing, soothing, flowing routine that's taken us through some of the major joints of our body and brought us into connection with ourselves. How has it changed you? If it's changed you, do you feel more whole? How do you feel? And if you feel like putting your fingers on the keys of your device and typing in a few words to let me know how you're doing, I always love to hear from you. And thank you very much for your beautiful presence and attention and support and willingness to play along with today's movement medicine morsel. Many blessings to you.